Hello and welcome back to Invincible Asia. I'm George Clark and today I finally get the chance to check out the Arrow video release of the amazing Shawscope Volume 4. Don't forget folks, before we go any further, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, ring the bell and all that jibber jabber, and thank you very much for supporting Invincible Asia.
That's Inframan, the Inframan!
Inframan! He's here!
Not too long ago, I did do a full breakdown and review of this collection. I did manage to get some screener discs from Arrow, so that gave me the chance to go through this incredible set with some time, only without the physical copy of this complete box in my hands. And I was hugely impressed. I mean, there was a lot of negativity surrounding this. I will get to that in a moment. But with this video, I'm just going to share with you the actual set because it is just gorgeous. What I will do, however, after that is tack on the breakdown part of that particular video to share with you if you want to stick around and get my full thoughts on this incredible set. But for me, I was very, very happy. This is it, Volume 4 of Shawscope. It looks fantastic. I really love the purple. We've had blue, orange, green, now purple. It is going to look amazing up on the shelf beside all the rest. And as per usual, you can see, maybe you can't, but behind the Shawscope you have illustrations of characters involved in the movies in here. I see Super Inframan, the Oily Maniac, Demon of the Loot in there. This is a box set of some pretty wild movies. On the other side, as before, you see that breakdown on the slip, but when I take that away, you just have the Chinese lettering there, as you can see. But yes, there is a lot going on here and I really cannot wait to share this set with you. It's incredible. Limited edition. With this, we get high definition Blu-ray presentations of 16 films. So this is the biggest Shawscope so far. All newly restored in 2K from the original negatives by Arrow Films. We have an illustrated 60-page collector's booklet featuring new writings by David West, Jonathan Clemens and Grady Hendrix, plus cast and crew listings and notes on each film by Ian Jane, new artwork by Matt Frank and Yolan Yates, Mike Lee Graham, Chris Malbin and Ilan Sheedy. Really can't wait to see what the book is like, because this is one of the highlights for me with the Shawscopes is the illustrated work and the book included there. Disc 1 we have Super Inframan. Disc 2, Oily Maniac and Battle Wizard. Disc 3, Black Magic and Black Magic Part 2. Disc 4, Hex and Bewitched. Disc 5, Hex vs. Witchcraft, Hex After Hex. Disc 6, Bat Without Wings and Bloody Parrot. Disc 7, The Fake Ghost Catchers and Demon of the Loot. Disc 8, Seeding of a Ghost and Portrait in Crystal. And Disc 9, Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Star. Then on Disc 10, which is the bonus disc, you get a host of extra features. So I will go through all the extra features with you, but one of the biggest disappointments for a lot of people with this was the fact that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 titles were previously released on Blu-ray by 88 Films. Now, that said, they were released anywhere up to 6 years ago, and I have of course got these here. So we have got Inframan, as you can see, and of course, having already previewed this, I have been able to compare them and see that for me, overall, this is the better buy. This is the better version of those movies. I do also have the American DVD release of Battle Wizard there. Just want to share that with you, released by Wilgo USA. Then yes, Black Magic, and one of their later Blu-ray releases would have been Black Magic 2. I suppose this would have came out a wee bit after all the others. But yeah, I still love what 80 Films have put out, don't get me wrong, but I still feel with these new 2K restorations, with what Arrow have put into this, that this for me is the overall winner. And I do have the Hong Kong import Celestial Pictures DVD release of the incredible Demon of the Loot, an absolute favourite of mine. And finally, Seeding of a Ghost. So I have many of these movies, and personally I shouldn't have got as excited as I did for this, but I still loved what I saw. And again, that was just with the discs. Now I have this physical piece in my hands. I am super excited. Okay, let's go through this. With Super Inframan on disc 1, we have, okay, of course they're all newly restored. They have those language options. They've newly translated English subtitles, so I don't need to repeat all that. But with Super Inframan, we have got brand new audio commentary by Frank Jang and Eric Ko. We have Shaw's Little Dragon, a newly filmed interview with co-star Bruce Lee, who's fantastic in this. Super Ultra Infra Action, a brand new video essay on Shaw's tokusatsu films, written and narrated by Stephen Sloss. Theatrical trailers, TV spots and radio spots. With Oily Maniac and Battle Wizard, we have got brand new audio commentary on Oily Maniac by Ian Jane and an audio commentary on Battle Wizard by Jonathan Clements. Some of them have less special features than others. That was one slight disappointment, but it makes up for it on disc 10. On disc 3, Black Magic and Black Magic 2, we have an audio commentary by James Mudge, and on part 2, an audio commentary by Sam Deegan, plus the alternate US opening for Black Magic Part 2. Then on disc 4, Hex and Bewitched, we have brand new audio commentary for Bewitched by James Mudge. Disc 5, Hex vs. Witchcraft and Hex After Hex. There is no audio commentaries, but we do have an additional Mandarin voiceover clip for Hex vs. Witchcraft. Again, I'll break all this down after I do this unboxing. Disc 6, Bat Without Wings, Bloody Parrot. We have got brand new commentaries for both films by Sam Deegan. Disc 7, The Fake Ghost Catchers and Demon of the Loot. Brand new audio commentary for Demon of the Loot by Frank Jang. Then disc 8, Seeding of a Ghost and Portrait in Crystal. We have got brand new audio commentary on Seeding of a Ghost by James Mudge. Disc 9, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. We have got brand new audio commentary by Frank Jang. Newly filmed interview with director and co-writer Alex Chung, and a newly filmed appreciation by Victor Van. Also a theatrical trailer. Then on disc 10, the bonus disc, we have got some incredible stuff on here. Hong Kong, The Show of Mr. Shaw. This is a 1972 French TV profile of the Shaw Brothers legend. They have a brand new video essay on Ho Meng Hua, written by and narrated by Grady Hendrix. Newly filmed appreciation of Super Inframan by Leon Hunt, Luke White and Kim Newman. Newly filmed appreciation of Bat Without Wings by Wayne Wong. Newly filmed appreciation of Demon of the Loot by Luke White. Newly filmed appreciations of Battle Wizard and Demon of the Loot by Victor Van. Theatrical trailers for most of the films in the set, never seen before on video. And they are fantastic. So there's quite a lot to enjoy here. But for me, now this is about getting stuck in to this incredible box, which I really cannot wait for. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So let's get stuck in and see what is inside. Of course, another wonderfully sturdy box there from Arrow. We have this gorgeous book to go through, and of course all the movies contained in this album of sorts that also features all the new artwork, which is very exciting. Okay, let's get stuck in and have a look. Okay, getting straight into the movie album, and the first one up again, Super Inframan, with artwork by Matt Frank and Jolan Yates, and it looks incredible. This is absolutely stunning, so colorful, wonderful detail. Of course, on the other side we see the synopsis, the extras and the disc included there. The same breakdown as all the other Shawscopes have given us, but the artwork for me in this album is where it lies. I really, oh my god, would you look at that. Oily Maniac by Mike Lee Graham, and this tremendous piece by Chris Melvin for Battle Wizard. Look at the detail in that. That is just, oh my god, that is absolutely gorgeous. Love it. Over again, Black Magic 1 and 2. We have Black Magic 1 from Mike Lee Graham again, and Julian Yates giving us Black Magic 2, and the detail in that is superb. That is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Flipping over again, oh my word, Hex from Elan Sheedy. Wow, I mean, this is stunning. Please give me a poster of that. That is absolutely gorgeous and one of my favourite movies in this collection. Bewitched looks spectacular as well. Julian Yates, once again, giving us pretty much the perfect poster for Bewitched, because that is exactly how what you're getting when you watch that movie there. One more over, we have got Hex versus Witchcraft and Hex After Hex, two pretty mental movies and not what I was expecting at all, but I still had a great time with them. We have Elan Sheedy here on Hex versus Witchcraft, which is just fabulous again, and Julian Yates once again with Hex After Hex. Yeah, two pretty wild movies, not what you would expect after watching Hex, believe it or not. Bat Without Wings and Bloody Parrot, two more fabulous pieces of art from Julian Yates here. These are absolutely gorgeous, and again, it's just a shame each of them just didn't have their full page to themselves. I mean, I get the split thing, of course, when you have two movies on one disc, but that they are absolutely gorgeous and deserve to have their own page. On over, we have got The Fake Ghost Catchers and Demon of the Loot, two wild movies, but two absolutely highly entertaining pieces. Demon of the Loot I absolutely adore. It's just one of the wildest Hong Kong movies I've ever seen, but Fake Ghost Catchers was a lot of fun, some great fights and some great comedy throughout there. Both are pieces by Mike Lee Graham once again. Fantastic, very colourful. Over the page we have got Seeding of a Ghost by Elan Sheedy. Holy shit, that looks amazing. Oh wow. Oh, that is just gorgeous. Portrait in Crystal by Julian Yates. Again, what a wild movie, but I really loved both of these. That artwork, although Elan is just friggin' stunning. Once more over the page, the final movie of the piece, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star by Elan Sheedy. Oh my god, what a closing piece. That is stunning and just captures this insane movie perfectly. Oh my god. I mean, you just take a look at that and you know what you're in for. This is a movie you will not forget. Trust me. I did not know what to expect, but this captures it perfectly. Such a fabulous, fun, wacky, wild movie, and one of the best Star Wars spoofs I have ever seen in any cinema. And over that, one more time, it's a bit of a thicker page. We have the bonus features on the last disc here. And then you can see, as with the last ones, all the posters are put together here. The original posters put together on the closing page. Fantastic. Let's check out the book. Now, as with all the other books from the Shawscope series, they are fabulous. Very well written, very well put together with lots of incredible photos from all of the films involved, some great writings, and lots of other information in there. So this is going to take some time to actually sit down and read through. Demon of the Loot there with the wild hair. What a crazy movie. But yes, a lot of people weren't too happy with the selection of titles put together by Arrow, but I have to say that these are really showing how creative Shaw Brothers could get at this time, and I just loved the most of them. I have to say, there were some that are definitely questionable, some that aren't as good as others, but you can understand where they were going. And the mix, I mean, they could have absolutely put in a host of other titles there to really shake things up if they didn't want to re-release what Idiot Films had put out before there. But there's clearly reason behind it. There's clearly something to do with rights as to why these films were picked up again, and that's fine. They work together here as a whole collection and as a set. But these newer ones that I've never seen before, the likes of Bloody Parrot, the likes of Fake Ghost Catchers, Portrait in Crystal, they are all well worth checking out. So the fact that I have many of them in the past doesn't bother me in the slightest. And Demon of the Loot, to finally see that in full HD was incredible, because as I say, it is one of my favorites. It's just a bonkers movie. But as you can see here, we get the poster, we get a cast and crew breakdown, an official synopsis, film notes, and on the end here's some trivia. It's really hard to fit, because of the size of this book and the whole layout of the Shawscope itself, it's really hard to fit a lot of it into the frame of the camera, as you can imagine. But you know what? Get your own, check it out. The Japanese connection, there's an article from Jonathan Clements on a number of, no doubt, effects workers and cinematographers that took part in many of these movies, which it really shows, especially with Super Inframan. I mean, it is like watching an old Power Rangers episode or Masked Rider, something like that. It is a crazy, crazy movie, but a lot of fun with Danny Lee and Bruce Lee. But yeah, a lot of flying, a lot of wushu, a lot of wacky, wild stuff, a lot of horror, a lot of fantasy. But there's still a lot of fight action, there's still a lot of kung fu, there's still some creative showdowns to be had there, and there's a great shot of the Star Wars spoof you can expect to see in Twinkle Twinkle. It is mental. And then this final lineup of all the bad guys from Super Inframan. Pretty wild. What a book, what a set. I cannot wait to watch these all again. So there we go, what an absolutely gorgeous package presentation of some amazing films there, and I really can't wait to sit down and read that book word for word. If you don't have time to stick around and watch my full breakdown and review of everything that is contained in here, just know that I absolutely love this set, and it is a must, especially if you have the other 3 volumes on your shelf. Anyway, thanks for getting this far, let's see what I had to say. It is true that at least 7 of these titles were indeed previously released by Idiot Films in recent years, so I can totally understand the concern and disappointment from the fans that have expressed their thoughts. Thankfully though, I'm here to confirm that the upgrade is very much well worth it, and that this new Shawscope collection from Arrow Video is far from a disappointment. As I own all the previous Idiot Films Blu-ray releases of certain titles in this set, I was able to compare each film side by side, and I'm happy to say that Arrow's versions come way out on top in every possible way. First of all, a lot of these titles were some of Idiot Films' earliest Asian movie Blu-ray releases, but next to Arrow Films, already seem lesser in picture quality and presentation. Now, fans can relish in these gorgeous 2K restorations, which offer better colours, sharper images, and more contrast overall, while some offer longer running times than the Idiot releases, alternate language options, and some fantastic new extras. In a nutshell, you may not need to go back to your early Idiot Films versions once you have this in your hands. First up, we have the downright insane and often hilarious Super Inframan, starring the brilliant Danny Lee and always entertaining Bruce Lee. The first superhero film made in Hong Kong and China, and Shaw Brothers' attempt at a Japanese-style tokusatsu film, Super Inframan was inspired by the success of the Japanese Ultraman and Masked Rider TV series at that time, which is very obvious to see. Made in 1975 but set in 2015, the hero Inframan has to stop the Demon Princess and her army of monsters from conquering the Earth. Penned by the late great Ni Kwang, Super Inframan is silly nonsense by today's standards, but it's campy fun, cheap monster costumes, clever model work, and energetic martial arts action from Tongai help make it a winner. Starring alongside Lee and Lei are the prolific Wang Xie, Terry Lau, Yun Man-su, Chang Yang, Yen Shiquan, and the infamous Yun Clan, among others. It was only the second directorial effort of Hua Shan, who would go on to direct titles such as The Criminals, The Flying Guillotine 2, Dynamo, Crystal Fist, Kung Fu Zombie, and Little Dragon Maiden, as well as Bloody Parrot and Portrait in Crystal, which are also both in this collection. Running 3 minutes longer than its previous release from Idiot Films, Super Inframan offers 3 language options and a pretty good audio commentary with Frank Zheng and Eric Ko. We also get the alternate US theatrical version, running just slightly shorter and kicking off with an epilepsy warning as its new opening credits use fast flickering strobe lights. With a few changes throughout and its English dub, it still proved to be a lot of fun and looked just as great. There's a brilliant new 24-minute interview with Bruceploitation legend and Super Inframan co-star Bruce Lee, in which he discusses his time on the movie and working at the Shaw Brothers studios. A piece called Super Ultra Infra Action is a 13-minute video essay from Stephen Sloss about the studio's brief foray into the tokusatsu genre. It's a beautifully put together video that's definitely well worth watching. And finally, a collection of fun and unrestored Super Inframan trailers, TV spots and radio spots help bring this first disc to a close and proves to be a great start to this heavily criticised volume. Oily Maniac and Battle Wizard follow on disc 2, both of which star Danny Lee once again, and both of which offer two very different experiences. Shot in Malaysia and based on some old folklore, Oily Maniac is actually a remake of a 1958 Malaysian language film produced by Run Run Shaw and sees Lee back in superhero territory to some degree, with the star playing a crippled man who gains the powers to turn into the titular hero monster. In doing so, Lee sets out to take revenge on the very men who got his father-in-law incarcerated and take down any criminals that come his way. Part Toxic Avenger and part Swamp Thing, this bizarre production features martial arts, nudity, violence, a silly storyline, and an oil-based monster. But what more would you expect from its screenwriter Choi Lam, the very same man that produced crazy films such as The Seventh Curse, Her Vengeance, The Peacock King, Robotrix, Story of Ricky, and The Blue Jean Monster. Once again, Lee is joined by Wang Xie, while Ku Feng, Chen Ping, Lily Lee, Hua Lung and Tung Lin help fill out the cast. The usual lot of bit players from this period also show up, including the Yun clan once again, with Yun Chengyan handling the fun action scenes. The film itself was directed by the prolific Ho Menghua, the same talent behind classics such as The Jade Raksha, Lady of Steel, The Flying Guillotine, and its semi-sequels The Dragon Missile and The Vengeful Beauty. But he also helmed the much-loved Black Magic and Black Magic 2, which follow up on Disc 3. While much more serious than Super Inframan, Oily Maniac is still wild on many levels and, as expected, the effects work today often proves laughable, but it still has a certain charm and once again displays the wide range of roles Danny Lee has played throughout his career. Apart from running a few minutes longer than the 88 film's Blu-ray release and its new 2K restoration with correct screen ratio, this version of Oily Maniac only comes with an informative audio commentary from Ian Jane as an extra feature. In Battle Wizard, Danny Lee plays Duan Yu, a handsome scholar that has no interest in learning Kung Fu and only wants peace in his life. But after he leaves home to begin a journey of learning, Yu soon meets snake lover Zhang, who forces on a friendship but also brings some trouble into his life at the same time. After she is kidnapped, Yu sets out to rescue her and, in turn, finds the skills to fight along the way. Loosely based on the first part of Louis Cha's Demigods and Semi-Devils, Battle Wizard may be a little confusing at times, but when a film such as this is filled with glorious kung fu action, sex, rubber monsters, fantastical swordplay, comedy, lavish costumes and crazy weapons, you know for a fact that you're going to be entertained. But those with a fear of snakes be warned, there's plenty of them slithering about in Battle Wizard. The film was directed by the much celebrated Pao Shu Li, who co-directed The Boxer from Shantung, The Water Margin, Man of Iron and Iron Bodyguard with Chang Che, as well as self-directing Chen Kuan-tai's Hero Tattoo with 9 Dragons, along with Ti Lung's The Revenger, The Kung Fu Emperor and Ninja in the Deadly Trap. Once again, the legendary Tong Gai handles the martial arts action, delivering some very entertaining and wildly creative fight scenes. Starring alongside Danny Lee is Tanny Ten Yi, Lin Chen Chi, Shi Chung Tian, Chang Tao, Norman Chao Su Kung, Yun Chung Yan and Yun Shun Yi, as well as the young Corey Yun Kwai, Yun Hua and Brandy Yun. Slightly bonkers, yes, but never boring. Battle Wizard is a fun addition to the collection, offering another gorgeous 2K print, but only an audio commentary, this time with Jonathan Clements, as an extra feature. Disc 3 gives us the equally brilliant Black Magic and its even wilder sequel, Black Magic 2, both of which were directed by Oily Maniac director Ho Menghua. Originally set in Thailand but moved to Malaysia, Black Magic was one of Shaw Brothers' bigger attempts at getting into the voodoo side of things, taking their horror and exploitation to another level. It tells the tale of an evil magician who makes his living by casting deadly spells and taking control of people, But when he gets a little out of control in wanting the fiancée of tough man Siu Lo, the menacing magic man soon finds himself up against a veteran witch doctor in a fight to the death. Shaw Brothers legend Ti Lung leads the way as Siu Lo in a non-fighting role, with the wonderful Ku Feng starring as the evil wizard Shan Qian Mi. The equally talented Lo Lei also co-stars along with Lily Li, Tani Tian Ni, Li Xiaoku, Yun Hua, and Norman Choi Soo Kung, with Ku Weng Chung appearing as the good priest. While it has its flaws and some dated effects by today's standards, Ho Meng Hua's black magic still makes for an interesting and entertaining watch. Apart from giving us some insight to the supernatural traditions of Southeast Asia, not to mention plenty of gore and gruesome moments involving maggots, breast milk, self-mutilation, blood and guts, and then some, the film is beautifully shot by Cho YK, who filmed most of Ho Meng Hua's features, as well as a number of Chang Che's projects with the Venom Mob. Put up against the 88 Films Blu-ray release, we immediately see an upgrade in the picture quality, as well as 2 extra minutes of footage. Again though, the only special feature with this is an audio commentary, this time with James Mudge, who informs and entertains with his intermittent giggles and insights to those involved. Black Magic 2 follows, of course, with most of the same team returning, from the director to the cinematographer and cast members such as Ti Lung, Tani Tian Ni, Lo Lei and Lily Li, albeit as very different characters to the unrelated first movie. In Black Magic 2, 2 doctors and their wives try to figure out why so many people around them are getting ill with the same unknown symptoms. They soon learn of Kang Kong, an evil magician played by Lo Lei, who makes potions from pubic hair and breast milk, and controls his victims as zombies by driving a large metal spike into their head. But as our heroes start to feel his wrath, they struggle to put a stop to the black magic of the madman, resulting in more blood, maggot-filled guts, decomposing, snakes, and pulsating wounds. For me, this is a much better film than the first, not just in terms of story and horror, but in production value and effects. Shot in Singapore, Black Magic 2 wouldn't be Ho Meng Hua's last foray into voodoo, with the director returning to the genre one more time over 15 years later with Evil Black Magic in 1992, starring Eddie Ko, which was also his last movie. Interestingly though, it would be Lo Lei himself that would return sooner with his self-directed sequel of sorts, Black Magic with Buddha, in 1983. The great Yun Chung Yan handles the film's few moments of action, much like he did for Ho Meng Hua and Oily Maniac, giving us just so-so fight scenes that are pretty uninspiring considering the talent involved. Of course, this includes the hilarious scuffle in, on and around a cable car. Still, it's a fun show overall, with the final 10 minutes carrying a Hammer horror style quality about them. Running for just over a minute longer than the 88 Films release, this version is also more superior in picture quality, with vibrant colours and sharper image overall. On disc 4 we have Hex and Bewitched, placed in that order, which I found to be a weird decision considering that the following disc carries 2 Hex sequels. For that reason, I started with Bewitched, the 1981 film from director Kwai Chi-hung that continues Shaw Brothers' fascination with witchcraft and black magic, and is one of the better efforts in my opinion. After the police discover the body of a young girl, they arrest her father as the murderer, but after claiming that he was possessed to do so, a police detective, played by the fantastic Melvin Wong, digs deeper into the case in order to find the reason behind his killing spree. The prisoner takes him through his story, which starts in Bangkok, Thailand, where he meets a beautiful girl and starts an affair before returning to Hong Kong. But after failing to return to see her again, weird and disturbing things start happening to him. This, in turn, leads him to murdering his daughter. Now convinced, the detective makes his way to Thailand to try and find evidence of the black magic, but not without running into his own issues. I've always enjoyed Bewitched, ever since I first saw it via the 88 Films Blu-ray release back in 2017. I was pretty happy with that release, but this new 2K restoration from Arrow absolutely tops it, giving us an extra minute or so of all its gory glory and a much better picture overall. Of course, director Kwai Chi-hung is no stranger to horror, having directed The Killer Snakes, Ghost Eyes, Spirit of the Raped, The Amazing Corpse Mania, and the accompanying movie of this disc, Hex and its sequels. Of course, he was also the man behind The Brilliant Killer Constable and delivered a follow-up to this with The Boxer's Omen in 1983. As with the previous disc, the only extra feature here is an insightful audio commentary, again from James Mudge. Next up, and made just a year prior to Bewitched, is Kwai Chi-hung's superb horror Hex, another previous Blu-ray release on the 88 Films label. This is absolutely one of my favourites from this director, oozing the same visual style and atmosphere as his later film Corpse Mania that followed a year later and stars two of its main actors in Tanny Tian-ni and Wang Yong. If you're a fan of world cinema, you can see that Hex clearly borrowed the idea from the French classic Diabolique in 1955, but Kwai gives it enough of his own twist that it works. It tells the story of Young Chun-yu, who has married the only surviving daughter of the once wealthy Chan family, but after her riches seem to have dried up, he makes a point of making her life hell, even though she is already suffering from an illness. After days of torment, a new housemaid arrives to help look after her and the house. But all is not as it seems, and the torment continues. Madame Chan eventually dies, but not before learning that the pair have been working together to get rid of her. Thinking that they have gotten away with it, the husband and the housemaid soon experience a wake of ghostly vengeance that pushes them to the limit. What a film, and what a classic title from the extensive Shaw Brothers catalogue. While, once again, this Arrow release of the film presents a much more stunning restoration and a very welcome extra 3 minutes of footage, it lacks any bonus features at all, not even an audio commentary, whereas the original 88 Films release offers two decent, albeit cheap looking, Bay Logan featurettes and the original trailer. This is a damn shame considering it is one of my favourite titles in the collection, but I'd also love to have heard the likes of James Mudge or otherwise share their thoughts on it. Still, it is vital considering what follows on the next disc. Kwai Chi-hung's season continues on disc 5 with Hex vs. Witchcraft and Hex After Hex, two movies that really surprised me. This was for no other reason than the fact that they had nothing to do with the original. In fact, I'd go as far to say that Kwai Chi-hung went full Wong Jing in that he basically spoofed the very thing he perfected. Hex vs. Witchcraft is just that, a wonderful and often genuinely funny horror spoof that really caught me off guard. Made the same year as Hex, the film stars James Yi as a desperate nobody who has lost everything to gambling. In trouble with gangsters, he tries repeatedly to kill himself, but with no luck. And I mean, it gets ridiculous, but in a fun way. Eventually, he finds a bag of gold and feels like his luck has changed. The bag belonged to a young girl that had recently been kidnapped, raped and killed. But it doesn't take long for her dad to find him and make a deal that, if he marries his dead daughter to bring her peace in the afterlife, he can keep it. Thinking nothing of it, he agrees. But after the ghostly wedding, Yi still finds trouble around every corner, and with his spirit wife possessing those nearby to keep him on his toes. To be honest, I'm really still trying to wrap my head around this one, and while I did laugh many times and found it to be a very well made movie, I just didn't know where it was going. But that was down to my own expectations, I guess. James Yi was a very weird choice as a leading man, but has been working in film since the late 1950s and actually does a great job as this unfortunate being. There's some fight action, some great stunts, but lots of crazy comedy, as well as some ghostly goings on of course. Regardless, I enjoyed it, although I can see that it won't be for everyone. The restoration looked fantastic, and the only extra feature was a 40-second extract in Mandarin, which has Yi delivering a voiceover in the middle of a suicide attempt. I liked how it was done, but it was hardly an exciting extra in the grand scheme of things. An audio commentary would have been better. And then there's Hex After Hex from 1982, another horror comedy from this prolific director, which has the best opening credit sequence of all three films. Oddly, this is kind of connected to Hex vs. Witchcraft, with a similar story that sees a man find a bag of gold, complete with spiritual tablet, and the same old man appearing to make the same deal. This time though, the man in question is Muscle, a stuntman from the Hong Kong film industry who happens to be the neighbour of James Yi's character from Hex vs. Witchcraft. We know this because he is played by Kung Fu legend Lo Meng, who cameos in the previous film as a neighbour. This time, the ghostly bride possesses another woman to seduce him, and as expected, all kinds of crazy kick off. Now, when I say all kinds of crazy, I actually couldn't be any more literal with that. I'm beginning to think that Kwai Chi-hung has been criminally overlooked as a comedy director because this movie, and the last I suppose, show a very competent director of the genre. From lampooning Shaw Brothers themselves to Lau Gar-lung, Peking opera to Star Wars, where Yoda appears very casually before Darth Vader enters the room with a lightsaber to slice everyone's clothes off. In another scene, our hero must call upon the monkey god to do battle with a copper statue of Thomas Jefferson that has come to life, and well, that's before it turns into a slot machine and dishes out the jackpot from its mouth. Honestly, this film is just sheer and utter madness, but in a good way of course. Fellow Venom, Cho Ku, also makes an appearance as a drunk beggar, getting to bust some moves against Lo Meng in one of the few but pretty exciting fight scenes of the film. It really is a different kettle of fish to the other two movies, but if you go in knowing it has absolutely nothing to do with the classic original horror, then you'll enjoy it even more. Hex After Hex is a very enjoyable and very well made movie. It's just a shame that it was void of an audio commentary or any bonus features like the others. Disc 6 gives us two very exciting martial arts titles such as Bat Without Wings and Bloody Parrot, both movies of course making their UK Blu-ray debut via this set. The first, Bat Without Wings, is a Chor Yun picture from 1980 that has gained more notoriety due to the villain having his face painted just like Gene Simmons from the rock band Kiss. The wonderful Ku Feng plays this demon-like rapist of the martial world, although we soon learn that he is only masquerading as so, having locked the real Bat up after he lost his memory during a fight in the past. Naturally, a small army of China's finest swordsmen are gathered to try and put a stop to his madness, but only two are left for the majority of the film after a deadly battle. While it carries elements of horror throughout it, Bat Without Wings is very much a wuxia thriller, and brilliantly done as with most of his works, littered with dozens of characters and some exciting swordplay action, courtesy of the great Tong Gai. I really enjoyed Bat Without Wings, from Ku Feng's wild performance as the titular Bat, to the creative set pieces and aforementioned fight scenes. There's definitely enough going on here to keep even the most hardened Shaw Brothers fan very happy. Aside from Ku Feng, the fantastic Derek Yee leads the way, with actors such as Ching Li, Wang Yon, Tang Qing, and Jason Pai Pao joining the cast. And it was great to see a young Yun Hua and Yun Bun also show up throughout. Wonderfully shot with a great use of coloured lighting and smoke as only Hong Kong cinema does best, the film is often atmospheric and colourful, coming across like a live-action comic book for the most part. Thankfully, this film does come with an audio commentary as a special feature, this time from the very informative Sam Deegan, who does her best to help you understand the typically complex character setup of Chor Yun's work. Joining that on the disc is Bloody Parrot, a first time watch for me and actually a film I'm very excited to get back to watching once again. After a creative and fun animated opening credit sequence, the story tells of an expert swordsman that is accused of stealing some treasure that was meant for the prince. This, in turn, creates havoc in the martial world. Both intrigued and attempting to clear his name, the swordsman starts to investigate the theft and quickly learns of the mystery of the supernatural Bloody Parrot. While not uncommon for Shaw Brothers movies around this period, this 1981 production is indeed pretty different from the majority of them, blending horror and fantasy with hyperkinetic swordplay action, and I loved it. Directed once again by Hua Shan, the same man behind Super Inframan and Billy Chung classics like Crystal Fist, Sun Dragon and Kung Fu Zombie, he would follow this up with the wild Portrait in Crystal, also contained in this set. I also really enjoyed how cinematographer Nico Wong captured it. The eye behind the lens of classics like the aforementioned Hua Shan titles, Five Element Ninjas, Iron Angels 2, Lookout Officer, and Drunken Master 2. The fantastic and criminally underrated Kung Fu star Jason Pai Pao leads the way alongside names such as Lao Wing, Quan Feng, Teresa Ha, Chan Shen, and Young Ching Ching. The awesome fight scenes were handled by the Stick King himself, Su Sa, along with his brother Choi Fat and the great Yun Tak, with both brothers playing small roles. Once again, the film comes with a stunning restoration and a pretty informative audio commentary by Sam Deegan. On disc 7, we get two more titles that are very different to everything else that we've seen here, with the fake ghost catchers and the utterly bonkers Demon of the Loot. At a time when Sammo Hung's encounters of a spooky kind and Yuen Woo-ping's miracle fighters were putting bums on seats for Golden Harvest, Shaw Brothers had to do what they could to keep up. Written by Wong Jing, The Fake Ghost Catchers was one such offering, an often funny and very entertaining kung fu horror comedy that tells the story of a young man, played by the energetic Xiao Ho, who works as an aide for a fake Taoist priest. After convincing a friend to join him, they are asked to transport the soul of a young woman harassed in the afterlife to her place of peace at her sister's in order to find justice against the man who killed her. From murderous bandits to Peking opera, possession of bodies to gambling and more, The Fake Ghost Catchers is imperfect but still proves to be worth the watch. Next to Xiao Ho, we see Alexander Fu Sheng appear in a small supporting role as an opera performer who gets possessed by the ghost lady, while his more handsome brother, Chung Ching Pan, co-stars in what would only have been his second role. Lily Li, To Su Ming, Lam Fai Wong, Shum Lo, and legendary bad guy Johnny Wang Long Wei help flesh things out. The very awesome Lau Gar Wing directs, having just directed the Wong Jing scripted Treasure Hunters the year before, starring Fu Sheng, Chung Ching Pan and Gordon Liu, as well as the man himself. Interestingly, the same year as this, he would also direct the horror comedy Till Death Do We Scare, starring Alan Tam and David Chang. Lau doubles up duties as the fight choreographer, aided by Keen Lee and Yung Sai Guan, who deliver some quality kung fu action in between the comedy and ghostly goings-on. Unfortunately with this one, no bonus features, but a very fun film all the same, and it looks fantastic. Joining it on this disc is one of my favourite crazy movies, and that is Demon of the Loot, a wild, over-the-top martial arts fantasy from 1983, and the directorial debut of the little-known Tang Tak Chung, whose only other film as director was the brilliant Long Road to Gallantry. He's also the same man behind the outrageous fight action. After we're treated to another fun set of animated opening credits, complete with foot-tapping musical number, the following text on screen reads, "A wuxia film dedicated to kids." To be honest, if I had seen this as a kid, my mind would have been blown. It tells the tale of a good versus evil, and how Flying Monkey must find the only weapon that can defeat the demon Loot. Throw in a wild range of bizarre weapons, a very cute kung fu kid, a flying swordswoman, a drunken master, a demon with extendable arms, another red-haired demon whose hair becomes his weapon, and you'll have an idea of what to expect. If you're a fan of Buddha's Palm, Holy Flame of the Martial World, and Miracle Fighters, then you'll really enjoy this. But take that inspiration and crank it up to 11. It's hugely entertaining and plays like a live-action anime for the most part. I swear you'll never have seen anything quite like it, which is why it's definitely one of my favourites in this collection. Of course, it also helps that there's an awesome cast involved, starting with Chin Soo-ho as Flying Monkey, Kara Hui as the Rainbow Sword, Philip Kwok as the Beggar Thief, and Kei Kong Hung as his super cute kid. The great Jason Pai Pao stars as the titular demon Wai Quan Fung, Yun Tak, Li Hoi Sang, and Wong Lik appear as some crazy characters, and the list goes on. As with the rest, the 2K restoration is just gorgeous, and thankfully we get treated to an audio commentary as a bonus feature, this time from Frank Cheng. Disc 8 gives us Seeding of a Ghost and Portrait in Crystal, two productions that offer very different experiences when watched side by side. Directed by Richard Young Kuen, who is also behind films such as Jewel of the Seven Tigers, Reed Lips, Ghost Lover, and Moon Lee's Revenge of Angel, Seeding of a Ghost tells the tale of a taxi driver whose life takes a turn for the worst after he knocks down a voodoo priest. Cursed, his wife starts to cheat on him, but is later raped and murdered by some thugs. In finding out about the curse, the distraught husband visits the black magician to plead with him to remove the hex and, in doing so, bring his wife back to life. Naturally, this comes with some major consequences. Also previously released by 88 Films, Seeding of a Ghost is an interesting piece. Wonderfully made and featuring some disturbing moments, the film is written by Lam Yi-hung, a Taiwanese director who made his own fair share of ghostly horror. The brilliant Philip Ko-fei and Norman Choi Soo-kung lead the way as husband and lover of the lady victim, Wai Kai-man, who actually played Ko-fei's girlfriend in The Boxer's Omen that same year. Popular Shaw Brothers bit player Hung Sam Nam plays one of the rapists alongside the very handsome one-time actor Fu Ling Kei, who go on to suffer the wrath of a vengeful curse. Featuring strong performances from everyone involved, lots of sex, brutal fight action, black magic, undead gore, creative practical effects, and some genuinely eye-popping moments, such as the scene featuring anal rape with a giant matchstick, not to mention its grand finale. Seeing of a Ghost is definitely one of the strongest horror titles of the collection. I must also mention just how beautifully shot and lit the film is for the most part, which was one of the highlights for me. Gorgeously restored, the film comes with a fantastic audio commentary from James Mudge that makes for an interesting listen. Super Inframan and Bloody Parrot director Hua Shan returns with the bizarre Portrait in Crystal, the shortest movie in the collection and a pretty exciting one at that. Although an additional 10 minutes might have helped set up a stronger introduction, the film evens out after its extremely fast beginning, allowing for plenty of hyperkinetic wuxia action, wild effects, gorgeous set pieces, and plenty of interesting characters. It's a very wild ride that feels like it comes straight from the pages of a Jade Man comic book, but I really enjoyed it. After spilling blood on a crystal carving of a beautiful woman, a swordsman sculptor must track down the deadly assassin he created, who is causing havoc in the underworld. This effects-filled wuxia horror may seem like a little chaotic to the untrained eye, but all flaws aside, it's actually one of the most creative and fun Shaw Brothers titles from this period, and that's saying something. Think Tony Liu's Lady Assassin meets Choi Hark's Sioux Warriors, which were also both from 1983, and you'll get a fair idea of what to expect. But it still has its own uniqueness. The great Jason Pai Pao leads the way again, and he does a fantastic job at the same time. He is joined by Chung Wong as his hilarious sidekick, Ten Wei Hao as Poison Yama, Xiao Yu as Yama's son, and the lovely Lu Yuk Pok as Crystal. Popular bit player and talented choreographer Tan Tak Chung handles the awesome action pieces, and yes, it is the same Tan Tak Chung who directed Demon of the Loot. Fans of The Legend of Seven Golden Vampires will enjoy the antics of the Poison Clan, while others will have fun catching the music cues from My Lucky Stars. Overall, a great first watch for me, and one that I look forward to going back to for a full review. The restoration is just gorgeous, but unfortunately, once again, it lacks any audio commentary or special features with it, which is just a shame. So now we get to disc 9, and much like with disc 1, this offers just one movie on there with a host of special features. Thankfully, that movie is the 1983 production Twinkle Twinkle Little Star that features a lot of sci-fi, action, romance, comedy, and then some. Written by no less than 6 screenwriters and taking almost 2 years to complete, the film was directed by the great Alex Chung. Oddly, this was his follow-up to the pretty dark Cops and Robbers and Man on the Brink. Perhaps this is the kind of thing he needed after such serious projects, as it lampoons Hollywood classics like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Star Wars and others, as well as Bruce Lee, Marilyn Monroe, and even Shaw Brothers themselves. Comedy actor and Hex vs. Witchcraft star James Yi returns for more crazy antics, with rising star Cherry Chung co-starring, along with David Lowe, Tam Tin Nam, Lung Tin, and Fung Fung, with cameos from many familiar faces, including Choi Hark. Tang Tuk Chung returns to choreograph the action, but it's all very tongue-in-cheek for the most part, with the end fight scene proving to be one of my favourite James Yi moments, and the greatest Star Wars spoof I've ever seen. Pure and utter lunacy it may be, but great fun is to be had, and if you'd told me Wong Jing and Stephen Chow Sing Chi were behind it all, I would have believed you. Aside from its gorgeous 2K restoration, the disc also includes an insightful audio commentary from Frank Cheng. There's a great 34-minute interview with director Alex Chung, a wonderful piece filmed especially for this release, and well worth watching. He does seem like such a nice guy. Then, film scholar Victor Van gives his thoughts on the film for a good 25 minutes, and 2 versions of the theatrical trailer, available in Cantonese or Mandarin, finish it off. It's also worth noting that you can play the film in its Cantonese or Mandarin version also, or the Cantonese version with an additional Mandarin scene that was initially cut. So that's pretty much it for the feature film content in this latest volume from Arrow Video, and what a visual adventure it was. As always, the menu art is taken from all contributors seen throughout the book, from artists such as Ilan Sheedy, Matt Frank, Chris Malbon, and others. After watching everything though, I can understand that with the discs that house 2 full movies and audio commentaries on there, that adding more features to it may indeed lessen the quality of those features. However, releasing some without any commentary or bonus feature at all is a pretty poor move. That said, a number of bonus features for those particular films in question are featured here on this last disc, Disc 10, which features a mix of video essays, appreciations, trailers, and more. This is broken into 4 sections on the menu. The first is called Hong Kong, The Show of Mr. Shaw, an archival French television report on Shaw Brothers from 1972. Presented in 4:3 black and white, although restored for this release, the 13-minute documentary gives us a great insight to the workings of the studio's movie town, some glimpses of its young stars, and a look behind the scenes of Ho Menghua's Lady Hermit starring Cheng Pei Pei. Following that is the movie Maniac, The Legacy of Ho Menghua, a brand new 14-minute video essay on the prolific director by Grady Hendrix. Again, another well put together piece that covers some informative stuff and makes for a great extra. In the section called Critical Appreciations, we get just that. 6 in total, such as Leon Hunt and Luke White on Super Inframan, Kim Newman on Super Inframan, Victor Fan on Battle Wizard and Demon of the Loot, Wayne Wong on Bat Without Wings, and Luke White on Demon of the Loot. All deliver interesting points and views in their own way, with each piece ranging from 12 minutes to 23 minutes approximately. And finally, there's the trailer gallery, which offers a healthy 24 trailers and TV spots, mostly unrestored but in HD, offering multiple versions in multiple languages, which make up for their lack of on many of the double film discs. Unfortunately, as many have stated with disappointment, there's no additional soundtrack discs with this release, and while I feel that this was a nice touch with the rest, I can understand them swapping the music out for a couple more feature films. It's hardly a deal breaker for me, and who knows, they might have just released all of the library music they could by this point. Truth be told, and as much as it will pain many straightforward Kung Fu and Wuxia fans to know, the Shawscope Volume 4 is a wonderful addition to the collection, offering 16 wild and wonderful Shaw Brothers titles that definitely show the more creative and versatile side of the studio. While they are all horror, sci-fi or fantasy themed films as such, a number of them do indeed feature some fantastic martial arts action, and, as we all know, some of these were previously released by Idiot Films. Yet I still feel that the upgrades, such as the 2K restorations and longer running times, make their addition absolutely worth it. Not to mention the fact that, based on Arrow's current pricing of £120, that's just over £7 for each restored movie. And aside from that, you're getting an additional 60-page jam-packed book and the housing for the discs featuring brand new artwork, which is just stunning in itself. Overall, a must for any true Shaw Brothers fan, and a set with plenty to love in my honest opinion. So there we have it, the Shawscope Volume 4 is due for release from Arrow Video on December 8th, 2025. So get your pre-orders in, and you can help the channel by ordering through the link below there. Don't forget also, if we don't support this one, we may not see another. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all of your continued support. It is truly greatly appreciated. Until next time though, enjoy your Kung Fu, and I'll see you soon. So thank you once again for watching another video here on Invincible Asia. Don't forget you can check out hundreds of others here on the channel. You can also show your continued support by heading over to my new merch store or by checking out invincibleasia.com, where you can read my full movie reviews and follow me on Instagram at InvincibleAsia. Until next time though, enjoy your Kung Fu, and I will see you soon.